How do, guys? Episode 3 of the gardening series. In the last couple, the first one we got this conifer row in, and then in the second one, if you remember, I actually planted 3, what were they, Taxis media, but we've decided to go with conifers. I just feel the conifers are a nicer option. For the 3 we've moved out of there, let's go up to the other side. This is the actual garden area of the allotment all here once we start getting through it. And that end where the conifers are, we are going to turn that into a little mini industrial estate come quarry. This area here, we are going to take out the gravel and some soil from underneath, and we are going to plant them 3 from the other side into there, which will then create like a nice little bit of privacy. So let's get digging. So I am actually planning on getting a tipper, then I can be like moving stuff around. At the minute, just using plant pots to load up. But he's only getting little baby scoops at the minute. I think the teeth are just catching a little bit under the flags there, but you know, we'll make do with what we've got. I am just on a 2S again, just for the light work. I think a wheel loader would be an ideal thing, or some different buckets, like a wider bucket, especially for like scraping stuff out and then scooping it up. I know I definitely need a ripper for breaking the ground. But I'll just continue now, just removing this bit of gravel. I've just had to like reassess and reevaluate the situation. I had to put like a breeze block here to create like a pit, because the excavator's sat on an angle. The bucket can only move on an angle, and then the teeth are catching under the flags here, so therefore it's preventing it from like scooping. So I've had to order in some real big heavy machinery to have this delivered. Come with escort and everything. So now should be able to get some decent scoops.
Much later.
So the little block cracked it. I've shifted a bucket of stone, like all the top layer. So now we've got another tipper truck. Yep. Now we're loading, we're just literally getting through the dirt underneath. As I was saying in the first one, this is all based on solid clay. So all I have done to help out is come along and just stabbing up the ground. You tell me a construction site that doesn't involve any manual labour. Yep, tacho's all good. You hear the jake brake? Can you just push that button? Okay. Tipper won't work otherwise if you don't push the button. So a few hours in, just scraping and scraping, and I keep coming across lots of big rocks like this. Now the excavator can't cope with pulling rocks out like so. So again, brings the manual labour side back into it, forking out the rocks. However, I'd say we're pretty much there. Just this area here needs excavating, but with the way I've got it, I can't excavate this bit out with the digger. So I am gonna scoop this out with the little trowel. Again, manual labour. But so far, having a whale of a time. But it genuinely is just an awkward area for the 4200 XL there. So as you could probably tell, I got distracted from the task in hand. My mate just up the street was digging his garden out, so threw me the keys to his little excavator and let me basically help myself to as much soil as I could get. So I loaded up the wheelbarrow with his little excavator, mini digger, and managed to get a nice couple of ton to play with. So while I was at it, I made myself a screening plant pot. Now I'd love to have a trommel and a proper sorting plant, but for this basically I have an old barbecue top resting on a plant pot which I've just buried in the soil. Now you can see there's already rocks on here, but when I empty this topsoil from the garden onto there, it's sorting out the rocks for me. Genius. How to make a screening plant at home. So now we just give it a shake. It should have a good bucket full of fresh soil. So that load's now been delivered to take care of those. But in the meantime, I am just gonna work on my little roadway to get up here, because it is a little bit slippy while loading up my screening plant. You'll start to see the excavator skid off, so I need to like compact the area a bit. That was a big boulder. Glad that's out of the way. It appears the servo to the ram has blown out. Just shut the pump off. Can hear all the other servos, but I can't hear the servo. You can hear it's just like very glitchy a little bit. Now, it's been on some serious angles and there is a lot of fresh fluid there, so I don't know if this has come out the overflow or what. I shall have to get this back and investigate the situation, but for now it's out of action. Oh well. So the digger is back. Yes. Now I've took this home and I literally pulled the whole thing apart. I took the sides off and literally pulled all the guts out, and then I gave everything a good clean of all the dirt in there the best I could, a good hoover out. And what I'm thinking is, with the servo, I'm thinking a bit of dirt has dropped through one of these like vents into the valve block in there and possibly got into like the servo and jammed it, because after cleaning it and everything else, I then fired it up before like taking stuff out and start swapping stuff, and everything worked fine. So I'm thinking just a bit of dirt had jammed that, so I am going to have to like mesh over these little holes there to let the air out the valve block and stuff. That way it might just prevent bigger bits of dirt falling in. And while I were at it, I just fitted this. I found this in a box, so it's not bolted in yet. I'm probably going to change it for a different beacon with like a little cage on it and stuff, and then bolt it to the roof. I was going to bolt this to the roof, but until I know what I'm doing, I'm not putting any holes in it yet. I also had 5 strips of wheel weights totaling to about 300 grams, so I have stuck some of them on the back for now. Lift the machine up. You can see I've stuck them 3 on either side there, and there's 3 on either side at the front, and some underneath there. Like I say, they total to 300 gram, and then I got an extra 30 gram just with that there. It's just a ladder off a crawler, a metal one, they're just little bits and bobs to try and add a little more weight to the body of it and give it more digging power. So I have actually ordered more of these weights, that way I can like pack up the back end with it. And somewhere at home I have a roll of lead, so when I find that, I will cut it all to shape and I'll put a lead floor in the back, which should add an extra couple of kilogram, and I'll do the same in the cab area. Oh yeah, I just put that Scooby-Doo guy in there, just quickly printed up a seat. But no, the digger is running fine. Made a quick adjustment to my screening plant pot. The barbecue was a bit rocky on the top. It just looked good because the barbecue had a hole in the centre, so you got like that hopper sort of feeling, but never mind. We got the lovely fresh soil underneath, and now it's working. We did manage to get these in and the compost in there, so all worked out well in the end. I'm just going to carry on basically sorting bits of my pile. And yeah, we had a boo-boo. Oh, track link thing has snapped, but it doesn't actually stop it from digging, it just stops it from driving. So I'm going to order a couple, then I've got a spare. Shame you can't just buy the whole tracks, because there is 90 section of track, and if the whole thing were to go, that's like £900 just for the tracks. It's cheaper just to buy a new excavator. Jesus, I love these machines. The joy, the fun, even when things are going wrong, is just, I don't know, it's brilliant. However, the little road way up the pile was getting there. So less than 24 hours ago I ordered track to repair the digger, so we can now actually repair this on site. I ordered 2 pieces just in case another one were to go, and I will just stock up on probably a few of them to put in a box, just then we've got them. So far this has been the weak point on the digger. However, I did catch it with the bucket teeth, which would have stressed it out a lot more. Yeah, it seems dead easy. Just push the pins out and then it's just a case of link back in and pins back in. The first pin popped out dead easy. It'd be nice to learn how to actually do this on the excavator, with the excavator. Yeah, that might need knocking out with an hammer, that one. But it has twisted and it is slightly bent there, so it will be like grabbing it a bit, if you will. So we'll just put an hammer to it. So we currently have the machine in bits. We've got the track bit replaced there, and then the issue that I was having on this third bank here, where I thought that there might have been some dirt in the servo, it was in fact just the servo giving up on life. It maybe crashed out about 20 minutes after running it with the new tracks yesterday, so I have just pulled it apart, and what an easy machine to work on. I mean, I can see why they're cheap machines. Well, I say they're cheap, they're on the lower end of the scale compared to other machines you can purchase, but yeah, it's just got these crappy Tower Pro. They're like 10 for a penny, they're about £1 each off AliExpress or something. Just real cheap servos, and then you just get your cheap basic like brushed. So I've got loads of stuff like this just lying around and things. So in the future, we'll just see how these go, because I may upgrade them to brushless, but so far they're alright. They're not too bad. Pump, everything else, all running fine. So like I say, it was just down to this servo on this bank. Now, I could have removed the whole block with that screw and that screw, but then it would have meant disconnecting lines and things like that to pull it out, which I don't really want to mess about with just yet. So I have just removed the side plate. Now, this is a thick piece of metal. Now I'm kind of gaining a bit of confidence under here. I do have this roll of lead to like roll out and line all the floor. But yeah, I just thought I'd quickly jump in and give you an update on that and just let you have a look at this. It looks pretty off-putting. We need to get this crappy servo out of there. That's the one that died. I should really replace the mole while I'm at it. I have a box of servos and things. But yeah, ideally I should replace the mole, but like I say, it took me 5 minutes to get into the machine. It is so much easier than working on stuff like that when they've got full sound units in and everything. Little project there. I've got projects going on everywhere at the moment, but we're kind of in the middle of redecorating this room and getting my loft now organised, and yeah, we'll get there. So I'm just going to throw this machine back together. There was something I did notice as well on these. They're just like your hobby wings, but I've noticed all the little jumper plugs are still set on the NIM setting. So we'll get all them swapped over, get the machine put back together, and then we can give it another little test.
Got that on camera.
Do hit that subscribe, the like, all that, and I'll catch you all in the next one.